This is the Tesla Model X Plaid, and it's a little bit like the XB-70 Valkyrie nuclear bomber from the Cold War because it's big, it's white, and it's insanely fast. And in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. I'm going to talk you around the exterior design, the interior. I'm going to see how practical it is, see what's good about it, what's not so good about it, take it for a drive, and of course, I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour because I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Buy, sell, Car Wow. Let's start off this video with the design of the Model X. There's not that much to it really, though you do have this spoiler which you think should be retractable, however it's not. Being the Plaid, you have the Plaid sign there, which just looks a bit weird. That's weird too. Sounds very cheap. Down the side, it's sort of like an egg shape. Eggs are quite aerodynamic, designed to shoot out of a hen's what's-it. Anyway, moving down the side, huge alloy wheels. This one is on 20s. Moving to the front, once again, quite simple design. No messing around with grills or anything like that because it doesn't need them, and it doesn't really have to have a grill because it's a Tesla and it's not a legacy car manufacturer. I actually think the look of the Model X is better than the Model Y. Just more angry, more purposeful. I like that. Not so keen on the price though. It starts at £102,000, rising to £127,000 for this Plaid version. Whew. Now, if you want to compare the prices of lots of different vehicles to make sure you're paying a fair price, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below to get a Car Wow. You can also sell your current car through Car Wow. Just upload some photos, give a brief description, then dealers all across the country will bid on your car. Now, if you want to do that at a later date, just simply Google "Help Me Car Wow" and we will help you. Here on the inside, the Tesla Model X is very minimalist, very Tesla. So the design is actually quite nice. I like it. There's not too much going on. Material quality is generally all right, but in places the build quality and the fit and finish is a bit iffy. Don't they? Look at that, it doesn't fully fit. Now, one of the problems with the minimalism is the fact that sometimes things can be a little bit hard to control. The only buttons you really have are on the steering wheel here, and obviously you've got your window switches and then the controls for your seat. Everything else is done through this screen. And if you want to do things such as move the steering wheel, you have to do it by pressing this first, and now I can operate the steering wheel with this. And it's the same with the mirrors. If I want to do the mirrors, then I have to do it through the screen and then use these buttons to move them. Quite annoying. What's also annoying are no stalks. So to indicate, you have to press that or that and then press again to cancel. Then there's the problem with the horn. Normally with a horn, you use it in panic, like, no, God, watch out! And it's easier to do it when you're hitting the central boss. This, you have to locate this little button here, like that. So if you're like in a panic, then it's going to be too late, isn't it? I can't fault the screen itself though, because it's very, very quick and it can control so many of the car's functions. And there really is no lag. Just look at that, it just zips around. The reason that's not all coloured in is because the signal here isn't great. Now, there are loads of other things you can do. You've got Spotify, you've got stuff like YouTube and things like that. You can watch movies, you can play games, you can mess around and make farty sounds, all very funny, ha 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 ha. Yeah. But that's the kind of thing that you're going to mess around with when you're sat around waiting for the thing to charge. You can actually control most of the car's functions through voice commands by pressing this button. Unfortunately, it doesn't work all the time, especially if you don't have internet connection. It's quite a nice place to sit in though, especially with this huge windscreen which just stretches up above you. And I find the sunblind's really funny. Look at these. If the sun's in the right position, they work. Yeah. But it is lovely, that view. Absolutely incredible. Now I'm going to show you the cubbies. So door bins, nice and large. Cup holders, actually quite grippy, look. That's fine. That's fine. Underneath here you have some storage, and you have some more storage in here. And look, you can actually slide that back to get more storage. That's quite clever. I like that. Oh, and look, there's 2 USB-C charging ports there. Or if you don't want to use those, these are actually wireless charging pads as well. I'd like to show you inside the glove box, and once again you have to open it using the screen. Unfortunately, it's locked with a pin by the owner. Speaking of which, I've actually hired this Model X from the owner through an app called Turo. It's a peer-to-peer car sharing app. It's a bit like Airbnb for cars. really quite handy. There's a link in the description. Now this car is so new that if I show you under here, there's a little message from Tesla to the chap who's just bought this car, Ahmed. So thanks for lending us your car, Ahmed. It's only done 300 miles. It's so new that look, it's even got the screen protector on it. I'm so tempted to just remove it. Probably better not. Anyway, shall we check out the back seats before I do that? Don't do it, Matt. You can get the Model X as either a 5-seater, a 7-seater or a 6-seater. In fact, the Plaid is only available with 6 seats. And in this configuration, feels quite special, quite roomy. Lots of knee room, lots of headroom, lots of shoulder room. I like it. One thing I'm not so sure about is the fact that you can't recline the seat back separately from altering the angle of the seat base. You sort of like have to tilt it a little bit like a dentist chair. Another thing that's not so good is that if you have one of the cars that's either a 5-seater or a 7-seater and you want to carry 3 people across the bench, that low roofline really eats into headspace. It's definitely more comfortable sitting in the middle of a Mercedes EQS SUV. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. Another thing I find a bit annoying is this, look. The rear windows only go down halfway. And there is no door bin at all. Still, you do have a couple of cup holders here. Ta-da! Plus a screen here where you can control the climate back here. And you can also operate various functions and entertainment systems such as watch Netflix or YouTube. I like that. Anyway, let me show you the back seats. So just open the crazy Falcon doors. Hop out. Move this seat forward by pressing this button on the side. So let me get into the back, and I'm going to move this one out of the way so you can see what the heck is going on. If I can just find the switch, there we go. So what I can do now is put it back to a position of my choosing. That's all right. So, oh, that's a bit tight. Oh, hold it, that'll do. There we go. See, you can actually create just enough space for the person in front of you and still have just enough knee room here. If you've got the 6-seater version though, you don't really have to worry because you can stretch your legs out like that and it's quite comfortable. You don't sit too close to the floor like you do in the back of some other 7-seaters, though this part of the car does sort of like intrude into your shoulder space. You do have a couple of cup holders there and a pair of USBs. Oh, I forgot to say, look. Headroom's actually quite decent back here. I could go a reasonable amount of distance in the back of this car without too much trouble. It's not terrible. The Tesla Model X has 2 boots. There's one at the front with a capacity of 183 litres, which is actually quite large. Look, easily big enough for this bag and more. In the rear boot, also known as the root, when you have the 3rd row of seats in place, there is enough room for probably 3 of these size of backpacks. I'll just get that out of the way. All right. Now, if you need more space, you can fold down the rearmost seats like this. And then you have a nice big booty area of 425 litres. There's some more storage under this false floor, look, as you can see, and some lovely exposed wires. Isn't that nice? Anyway, that brings on to 5 annoying things about the Tesla Model X. I absolutely detest the gear selector. So to put it into drive, you have to press your finger onto the little car icon, then slide it forward on the screen, and then to go in reverse, press and hold, slide it backwards. Seems easy, but when you're trying to maneuver in a rush, sometimes you're like doing that, you're not hitting it, you're opening icons and stuff like that, and it's, I'd much rather have a little gear selector. Right, see, it's not in park, annoying. The panel gaps on this car are as wide as the Grand Canyon. I mean, look at this. Look, that it's all uneven. Here, look at that, that's sticking out. This is nice and tight there, then very wide down here. And that's not all. This doesn't line up. There's a huge gap here on this side, whereas on the other side it's much tighter. Is the boot actually shut? Doesn't look it, but seems to be. And if you look at this side, yeah, it's not quite so bad. Oh, and it appears that the rear window doesn't fit properly either. Now, I'm sure I could find many more instances of poor panel gaps and build quality, but we'd be here all day. While you have a rear camera and a side rearward facing camera on the left and right of the car, there is no forward facing camera for parking. You do actually have a dash cam which looks forward, and it's sending a feed from a camera just behind there. However, it records and it's not live. For instance, look at the screen there. It's looking forward. You can't see me on the screen, can you? Yeah, I'm here. It's annoying. While you will be able to buy a Tesla Model X Plaid in the United Kingdom, you won't be able to get it as right-hand drive, only left-hand drive. I think they've done that to save cost because Elon blew all his money on Twitter. The electronically releasing doors do not like to be hurried. So you press the button, wait for it to open to there, and then you can open it the rest of the way. However, if you're trying to get in quickly, say if it's raining, and you press that and then grab it, it's sort of wrestling against you because it doesn't want to just swing open. However, it's not all bad. Here's 5 cool things about this car. For instance, you can actually shut the driver's door just by putting your foot on the brake. The car's stereo has noise cancelling software and it uses the speakers to counteract any nasty, unwanted noises in the cabin, so it's all nice and peaceful and serene. Not only have you got adaptive damping with different settings such as comfort, sport, advanced, whatever that is, and automatic, you also have adaptive air suspension which can alter the height of the car depending on how you're driving. You can also set it yourself from very low, which looks like this, to very high, which looks like this. Oh, and if you want to, you can actually look at all your suspension data. Because the Model X Plaid has 2 motors on the rear axle, it has torque vectoring for better corner exiting traction. The rear Falcon doors on this car are so cool. I love the way they open and the way they close back down again. Also, you can make the car wave them about, flapping style, when it does a little dance, like this.
One eternity later.
Pointless, but kind of fun. You can get 2 different versions of the Tesla Model X. There is the dual motor version with 670 horsepower. Then there's the tri-motor version, the Plaid, with 1020 horsepower. They are both fitted with a 95 kilowatt hour battery pack. In the case of the dual motor version, that gives you a range of 348 miles. And with the tri-motor version, the range falls to 337 miles. Both can charge at up to 250 kilowatts. Now let's set the car for a drive. Let's start off by seeing what this Model X Plaid is like to drive in an urban setting at low speed. I absolutely love the forward visibility. You've got a low dash, all this glass. It's like you're driving a spaceship. However, visibility isn't completely perfect. This pillar creates a massive blind spot. Also, the view out the back window isn't all that good either. The steering is nice and light. You've got the whole safety system spotting all the vehicles and things around you, even wheelie bins. It spots wheelie bins. Don't like the indicators though, because you have to make sure that you're on them nice and early. Otherwise, if you start turning beforehand, which to be fair you shouldn't do, you can find it hard to actually press the signal. Coming up to a stop sign now, I can actually just one pedal drive this. So lift off the accelerator and it'll automatically come to a stop. I haven't timed that particularly well, so let's do it. There we go, that's a better job, Matthew. And off we go. I forgot to indicate again. See, it's a little bit tricky. Now, if you do have to use the brakes, they do seem quite smooth. Sometimes electric car brakes can feel grabby. These, yeah, seem to work really well. Quite a long pedal to them, but it allows you to control the braking quite easily. Finally then, let's find some bumps to test out the suspension on this car. So air suspension is standard, obviously. And over these bumps, it's all right, you know. It deals with them okay, but you can tell that it's obviously having to hold up a really heavy car. And if you're on like multiple broken surfaces and going quicker, it can shimmy a little bit, this car. So individual bumps deals with them fine. Multiple at high speed can just feel a little bit out of sorts, a bit uncomposed. Here's a manhole cover. Let's try the suspension out over this. Yeah, see there it was really good. Whereas on these cracks, when there's lots of them, one after the other, it sort of pitter-patters and like shimmies and shakes. Overall, I don't think that the suspension is quite as smooth as on a BMW iX. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. One last thing I want to do is just check out the manoeuvrability. So the turning circle on this car is 12.3 meters, which is quite big. So let's see if it's too big for me to get round in this space. Here we go. Up. Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? This car is brand new and I don't want to do the wheels. Come on, camera. None of the cameras are helping. I want a forward camera. Oh, anyway, I'm not going to make it round. Let's do this. Oh, I blooming hate this gear selector. Rubbish idea. Okay, right, here we go. Bit of a palaver. To be fair though, this turning circle is still slightly better than on a BMW iX, though not quite as good as an Audi Q8 e-tron, FYI. Now let's try out this Model X on some faster roads. This is where the Plaid version of the Model X is absolutely phenomenal, because let's say you need to suddenly join the motorway in a little gap, you can just rock it off like this. Watch me. Like, absolutely, please excuse my language, but that was insane. So I'm going to do that again. Like, speed limit is 65 here on the highway in the state, so I'm going to do 45 and then I'm going to accelerate up to 65 and you'll see just how quickly that happens. Here we go. Like that. Whoa, this is crazy. Anyhow, let's get up to speed now and just cruise along and see what it's like when you're not making it go like an absolute rocket ship. There's a bit of wind noise from around here. Road noise is subdued though, hardly any at all. That's very good. The only thing you sometimes notice is the suspension going bonk, bonk, bonk over certain bumps. It's quite peaceful, apart from that wind noise. Maybe I'm just noticing it so much because the rest of the car's so quiet. But, you know, this race driving position, the brilliant forward visibility, the comfy seats, the insane performance, which means you don't have to worry about trying to overtake anything. You can always just overtake anything. Means it's actually quite a chilled ride. Also, it's quite chilled because of the efficiency. Now, this thing is averaging 336 watt hours per mile. Now, if I multiply that out by the car's battery capacity of 95 kilowatt hours, it means that the real world range on this car is about 283 miles. Now, the claimed range is 337 miles. So it's basically getting about 85% of the claimed range, which, to tell you the truth, my experience with electric cars is actually pretty good. These Teslas are efficient and you're less likely to suffer range anxiety with them, especially as you can charge them up at normal chargers and superchargers as well. Right, now then, I'm going to try out this Model X on a twisty road, see how it copes. First thing to note is that the steering is pretty sharp and direct for such a big, family-friendly SUV MPV thing. But of course, this is a heavy vehicle, so if you get a little bit too carried away, what you find is that the front outside tire gets overwhelmed, can't hold onto the road anymore, and the thing just washes wide. What you can't fault though is the traction you get when you're exiting a bend and that instant throttle response. Like now, whoa, oh, it just hooks up something crazy. You do have to watch it because it's a big vehicle in terms of the width, so when you're going around blind corners, you just got to be aware that you're not creeping over the central line, because that could be a bit dodgy if something is coming the other way as quickly as you are going as well. I'm quite impressed with how it just stays completely flat through the bends. It really, really does. Whoa, that was scary. There was a break in the Armco there, which I could have just gone down and straight down the mountainside. Fortunately, this held onto the road pretty well. What is a problem though, I'm not really experiencing it now because I'm going up the hill, but if I was going down, yeah, the brakes would be getting a serious workout and they soon start to overheat and the pedal gets long and you can lose quite a lot of braking performance, which would be scary. Right now though, going uphill, and because this is so heavy, I can just use the regen to slow me down for most of the turning I need to do. So it does handle pretty well. Well, for what it is, okay, for what it is. This is more of a drag racer than a circuit racer. But what did you expect? Right, I'm going to launch the Model X Plaid. It's supposed to do 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, but that's recorded with 1 foot rollout. I don't use 1 foot rollout because it's cheating. We're going to see what a real time is using my specialist timing gear here. Let's get into it. Prepare it, get into cheater stance. That just totally hooked up. There you go, you got a number. 2.86 seconds. That was insanely quick for such a big, family-friendly vehicle. Nuts! Okay, here we go again. That's quicker. 2.82. You probably saw the number flash up as well for 0 to 30 miles an hour, which is pretty insane. 1.37 seconds. But yeah, 2.82 to 60. In the interest of transparency, the launch road is slightly downhill. Now I'm going to run it in the opposite direction to see what number we get. I can hear the wheels just struggling for grip. Literally made hardly any difference, just like 0.1 of a second. A 2.94. It's quick, this thing. It's so quick. And I could even feel the tyres struggling for traction, so on a better surface, it's definitely getting quicker. So then, what's my final verdict on the Tesla Model X? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the Model X, unless you're buying the Plaid specifically to film a lot of drag races for CarWow, in which case you should go right ahead and buy it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think of my verdict by voting in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to CarWow to sell your car the easy way. Thanks for watching.